Okay, this is Plato's book 8 of the Republic, and I've done books 1 through 7, and I plan on, not only doing this book, number 8, but also coming through and doing 9 and 10 as well, so that I can move on towards doing smaller dialogues. Because I would like to maybe do this summer, like a few, maybe like the Feeders and the Fido, maybe like the Mino or something like that, because I really would like to, get into some of those dialogues. Anyway, book 8 is something that I'm going to really go briefly over. It's not something that is very important to me anyway. It does have a lot of good things in it, and I recommend that you read it, but I'm not going to really go deep into it. And it does involve something that has been discussed earlier in the Republic. First of all, this is a book where Socrates kind of describes the Republic, and this is a book of the Republic that is very big about showing how deterioration is something that is inevitable, given if we're talking about deterioration of the city at a big level, or of a person on a smaller level. Now, if you want context of this, I recommend that you read the dialogues for one. But if you have read them and you want to get a little bit of a more understanding, I have a playlist it's called Plato's Philosophy, and I have books 1 through 7 in there, where there is discussed, basically, which would give you a context for this. First of all, what is given here in the Republic is Socrates is said, "Hey, why don't you define justice?" And he does on the city level, or the Republic level, and also then he proceeds to do so on the individual level as well. And he gives a social hierarchy, and he gives the way the whole thing should be cohesively run, and all this stuff. And he also gives the Philosopher King thing, and also gives 3 good analogies. Basically, what goes on in here is what has been previously discussed is the 4 worst kinds of governments that could possibly occur. And he says, well, given any city or government, it is inevitable that the government deteriorates to these 4 at one time or another. And thus every man will also deteriorate towards that. Now, it is very important to know that the reason Socrates goes through all this is to create a government which has the aim of the good of the whole city, and he does it very well in that it's also works on the individual man level. Now, the first one is a democracy, which where the ruler or rulers is honor driven. It's driven towards to having honor, more or less. Now, this is a bad way of. This is a bad thing, basically, but the 3 others get progressively worse. There's the oligarchy, which is where the ruler or rulers are driven towards typical needs like food, shelter, water for the group. It's driven towards doing that, in a way that there might be enough of that where you would store up in barns, because of that was what you're driving to do, to get food and water and all this stuff. Third is the democracy, and he criticizes the idea of a democracy, which is where the ruler or rulers is driven by excessive excessive wants, like more money, and I think that is what democracy is towards. Is towards democracy and capitalism. No, that's not. That isn't a point I want you to criticize. I mean, that's just a little marking. That is a little remark in passing. Fourth is the tyranny, which is the ruler or rulers is driven towards immoral or bad things, which is what the common idea of a tyranny would be after. Now, how does Socrates' republic deteriorate towards this? And that would be the philosopher king. It becomes, less aligned with the forms, and would, be more concerned with things like honor, or, typical needs, or excessive wants, and maybe, and also towards wanting power and other bad things that would lead the whole thing into trouble, and thus the good of the whole city becomes no longer the aim. And what is also stated here is that the man also goes through this deterioration. The man also becomes, no longer focused on what is good entirely for him, and good for his whole being, and more focused on honor, focused on those typical needs, more focused on luxuries and stuff, and then finally more focused on having power or other things in the environment that he is in. Basically, men are ruled by who they are and what their spirits are. People deteriorate because of this. And it's kind of like the whole thing on the individual level. It's kind of like the saying that you see that given two wolves that are fighting, I'm probably not even saying it right, but given two wolves that are fighting, which one wins? The one you feed. If you feed your desire for luxury, then that will become stronger, and that is true. Very much so, I think. And I don't know. I think this is what is going on here, is that it's kind of showing the inevitable possibility that is between the city and also the man. I think it's kind of cool what he's done here, is to link up the two. I mean, not link up, but kind of have a model for how a city should be, but also have a model on the same token for how a man should be, or a person should be. And this is, I don't know. I just think that the Republic is it's kind of philosophy that is has various different kinds of philosophy, and it has a metaphysics, it has a epistemology, has a ethics, has a political philosophy, and also others. So I highly recommend that you read that, and if you think I left something out, I kind of went a little bit light on this. I didn't want to go too far into it. But if you think I left something out, then comment below, and I would like to discuss that with you.